So let's wrap up what Conesy and I did at Gen Con for 2023.
Yeah, I know this has been a marathon, but just keep with us. This is the final part. Welcome to WiscoDice! Hey yo, folks, I am your host, the Conesy with the Most, and I am joined today by.
Hey, I'm Suzanne.
And on today's episode, we are going to roll into our final discussion about Gen Con 2023. Man, we saw so much and experienced so much. Now, this take will include our haul, and it's worth knowing that we did not take any copies of games from publishers at Gen Con. If you've watched our channel, we do accept review copies. We are happy to look at review copies. We don't do paid reviews. We just accept the copies of the games. That's it from publishers at this time. And so, but we did not accept any paid copies or didn't accept any copies of games. There's no paid content here. This is all just our experience paying fully for Gen Con out of our pockets. Of course, before we finish up our review and show you what games we decided to put our hard-earned dollars on, what should folks do?
Oh, everyone, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and leave us a comment about your thoughts on Gen Con, conventions in general, or any thoughts on these games that we picked up.
Or tell us about you got in your Gen Con haul in the comments below. We'd love to see that. Okay, now with that, let's go ahead and roll into day 5, which is Sunday for us at Gen Con, and our Gen Con haul and final thoughts about this year's show.
And we get to the last day of the convention for us, which was day 5,
Last
Sunday.
day of the convention's always a sad day, but also, like, this is probably the Sunday we've done the most at the convention.
Yeah, we weren't ready to leave. We weren't trying to leave right away. A lot of people have to leave to, like, get to planes
Flights
and everything,
and
flights, or be back early. We just knew we had to get, take our 6-hour drive home and be able to function somewhat the next
I
day.
had to work
One of us
Monday.
had to work. One of us
My mistake.
took the day off to
Far more intelligence. I told her every Gen Con you always take the Monday off afterwards.
Yep, and I never did until this one.
This is the first year I didn't take the Monday off afterwards, and man, did I pay a price on that Monday.
Yep,
but
we started off with breakfast.
Yeah, started with breakfast. Mm-hmm.
And I had the pleasure of meeting Susan and Heather, who had driven up from New Orleans, and talked to them about gaming and what they do and what they like. And it was a great way for me to start saying, I love talking to people. And like I said earlier, what's going on? Susan and Heather, if you are watching this, you have inspired me and motivated me to get our route expansions off our table of opportunity. So hopefully we'll be having some content coming out soon from that.
Yeah.
And then, so we ate our breakfast, packed up the car, checked out.
Like,
so we didn't have to worry about that.
Multiple trips to the car at this point.
Yep. So that we got our steps in.
Again, that little cart came in super handy. We would have been back and forth like a dozen times if it wasn't for that cart.
Yep. And then we headed over to the vendor hall.
Yeah, so at vendor hall, this was my, I want to make a serious, concerted effort to see as many vendors as we could.
And this was kind of my real vendor hall day, too, because I tried.
So we both...
seen a hit and miss things.
Yeah, so we both took our time, walked down. We didn't walk the entire hall.
Oh, we did pretty close.
But it was pretty close. There were some of the lower numbered booths that I think we missed.
Funko Games, Looney Labs.
Yeah.
I had already gone through those ones.
It was about row 1,000 or so, I think, is where we started. So, and then we did almost a full walk. We did actually walk the entire artists area, which is one of the important things that we want to check out every year.
Yes.
And we were looking for, I kind of regret not getting any wall art this year, but at the same time, I'm probably running out of walls sooner or later to put wall art up. So it was probably better if we didn't get anything. But we did stop by David Lee Pancake's booth. David Lee Pancake is an amazing sculptor who does like dragon busts. He's the artist that does those like vent covers, the little dragon peeking through. Note that those can't be those are not intended to replace your existing vent covers for your house, or designed to do that.
Cute.
They're really cute. It's a little dragon peeking through the grates, kind of pulling them apart. Does a bunch of other sculptures and whatever. And we picked up a couple of little sculptures from him. He's actually going to be, we were talking to him, he's actually going to be at Gamehole Con here in Madison. That's his plan. Anyways, and we had bought Slither, who is hanging up on the wall over there. Picture probably here. And Slithers are just this amazing wall bust of a dragon, like super high quality. Like David Lee Pancake has done like
and it's a friendly dragon.
Yeah, you want him friendly.
He's not going to eat you playing games.
I caught him snacking the other day on something I didn't really ask. Yeah, so he's still pretty vicious. Slither is up there on the wall. He's done work for like Matt Mercer from Critical Role, Adam Savage from Mythbusters. That's it. So he's done like his work's been featured by a lot of really famous people that he's done work for.
Yeah, it's fun. We like to bring something back that adds to our game room every year.
Really important for us to support the artists, right? The artists. And like if you want to go to one spot in the exhibit hall that is the slowest, that is not packed with people, you go to the artist row, because the artist row, well, there's still plenty of people walking around and checking things out. There's space.
Yep, and you can tell pretty quick, like if it's something that's going to attract your attention or not.
Yeah, and you see the art, and supporting the artists.
Talk to them.
Like artists, I'm sure if you talk to the artists, and I don't know a lot about the art side of the industry, but those artists are likely still having to work day jobs or other jobs on top of trying to do their art, and trying to sell it at conventions like Gen Con and other conventions that they go to and support and whatever else they're supporting. So taking the time to help support them, especially when that's one of the slower areas in the area, is very important to us every year. So and it looks beautiful in the gaming room. Like if you're establishing that gaming room and wanting to add additional art or say a bust for a dragon or whatever you might be, you usually find something in the artist row. So make sure you check it out.
Yeah, it's very cool. So we didn't just spend all of our time in artist row. We did walk around and look at other games that publishers had out. We stopped by Papers and Games and checked out a demo of their new game that's coming out soon. That's still in development.
I don't know if it was really a full demo or it was just really kind of a here's how the game works and here's some examples that you can play.
But so Luthier, so you are creating instruments for the orchestra, and that is a new game they're going to be having coming out soon. That was really neat to see that and talk with the designer and also talk with Dave about that.
Yeah, had a nice long chat with Dave. Got to get the full walkthrough of Luthier, which was really what I was stopping by the booth at that point, because I'd already seen Dave and the rest of the group, the cast, but I hadn't
seen Luthier yet.
I hadn't had a chance to see it, haven't had a chance to play it or anything like that.
I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, really awesome to see it. And you're going to place your workers on the board, and your workers have a number value associated with them, but they're all placed in secret.
A little hidden betting.
So you're kind of hitting betting on actions to trying to get the best possible action at a location, but you always get something, no matter what. Even if you're the worst bid at the location, you always get something. And then ultimately, you're going to be taking those resources that you collect from these locations and turning them into instruments and other things, or maintaining instruments, whatever. And then you're going to attract patrons, and those patrons will get placed on your player board. And those patrons then have certain requirements that you need to make sure that they're satisfied every so often. Otherwise, they get very angry with you and you lose points. So it's a nice, interesting balance. There's a lot going on that you have to balance. But I think there's a lot of really neat, interesting
manageable.
Depth.
So definitely one that we will keep talking about, at least on our podcast, as it gets closer to it launching too.
And I think Dave's really excited about launching a game that's got maybe a little higher crunchiness than in difficulty to learn than Distilled is.
Yeah.
Distilled's a pretty in-depth game, but at the end of it,
end of it, if you
once you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
It's just straightforward. You get it. I think there's going to be a lot more.
And you can play it successfully without getting too deep into the game if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. But
for us seasoned pros, a veteran of like board games, I was like, oh yeah, that mechanic's from like I've seen that mechanic before. I've seen that mechanic. Oh, that's really interesting. It's really interesting how you paired those two mechanics together. So really excited to see that. Yeah. Then we did, as we were walking through the halls, we did wander over to Sophisticated Cerberus Games.
Yeah, we had check out that booth.
And we just wanted. I was thinking, oh yeah, I just want to stay high. And then I was like, we got to the booth, and I was like, we're chatting, and I was like, oh yeah, you guys said you got a new game coming out soon-ish. You've announced it. And so tell me about this new game. I know nothing other than the fact that I can remember that you announced it on your social media. So they actually showed us a prototype copy of it. It was like 3D printed gears and whatever. And the game is called Gears of Industry. Gears of Industry looks really neat. It's going to be a major departure from the Stifling Dark, which is this horror-themed one versus many kind of game, to a much different worker resource man. I don't know if it's a worker placement, like resource management with these gears. It's like the gears are basically you're playing with a whole stack of different rondels basically that are going to earn you more resources of different types, and you get to balance it. I would this game looks like it's going to be very, very interesting. And if you're a fan of a game like, say, Zolkin, I think this is going to be a really good game that's going to scratch that similar itch, but be different, much different as far as a game or a mechanic.
I think it's going to be, I'm excited for this game. It was just a prototype there, but even with the prototype, you could see that it was going to kind of how it was going to work, and that it was just going to have this different complexity that Stifling Dark doesn't have in it. And Stifling Dark has its own, like Ben mentioned, it's a hidden kind of one versus many sort of hidden movement. What I liked about seeing their version of Stifling Dark that they had is that a year ago, same concept, a lot of the same ideas, but oh my gosh, has the quality of the board changed. There's so much more on it.
Yeah.
And
basically their factory copy that they have. This is the production copy of the game. It looks so good.
If you
I was really worried about it.
They're still doing late pledges. It's just I am so excited to get our copy of this game.
If you like Fury of Dracula or Letters from Whitechapel, but want a game with this really cool flashlight mechanic that's going to embody your favorite horror flicks, this is the game you really want to add to your collection. This game, I feel like, is going to be a game that brings some new revolutionary mechanics to that hidden movement type one versus many game that hasn't been seen yet in these types of games. And it's one that I don't think gets talked about nearly as much as a couple of other hidden movement games that are out there right now, or that are coming out pretty soon. But this one, the flashlight mechanic, absolutely is going to be brilliant for you to be able to see, as a player, to see things.
That's one thing I struggle with, is understanding and visualizing the line of sight. I always want to put a ruler down on the board to help me measure it. Well, this has got the flashlight templates, which make it very clear what your line of sight is.
You can see things, and you can use that to, oh, hey, I see footprints over there, or whatever. Then maybe, I don't know what those footprints are, but maybe those are the killer that's trying to get you. I don't know.
So excited for this coming out. We will definitely be talking about it on our podcast and here.
And it sounds like it's going to be shipping early 24, hopefully. So fingers crossed. We will definitely be covering that game on the channel when we get our hands on it.
And
obviously we're super excited for it, and we actually have not played this game yet.
No, I really wanted to demo it last year. I think it was even before we had talked with the guys over there.
Yep.
But they were so crowded around their booth last year. All I could do was peek over shoulders to kind of see it. So
this game is definitely one of those games that I am extremely excited. And this game, before we met the publishers, we made our top 10
games
or top games of Gen Con to check out last year. And because we just kind of stumbled into, hey, you guys are from like
from
upper Midwest, Minnesota,
yeah.
and like one of them lives in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We were able to connect and really great, really learn more about this game, and it's just got me more excited about it.
Yeah, we also got to talk with a lot of other publishers that we were meeting for the first time at Gen Con this year, so that was nice.
Bought some things from some of them.
Yep, definitely bought some things from some of them. And the other thing we did on Sunday, of course, was shopping. Yep. I mean, that is a fun thing.
There was shopping all weekend, so some of these things
but but there was like a little bit more dedicated finishing out our list and double checking if there's something we want to check out and hadn't seen yet.
I mean, we spent probably 2.5-3 hours in the exhibit hall.
Oh, at least, yeah. So we spent some time, and it wasn't quite as crowded. Like you could move on Sunday.
There were a couple of spots. There was a couple spots and one wagon that caused some disruption and issues, but otherwise, you can move around pretty normally, I would call, for Gen Con.
Yes. So let's kind of roll into what our Gen Con haul was, because a lot of people post that online, so we're going to go through
we've been chatting for a long time. Yeah. So let's start out, I think, with the first game, and we've actually gotten to bring this game to the table since Gen Con, and that is Thunder Road Vendetta from Restoration Games. So Thunder Road Vendetta, you're playing 1 to 4 players in a Mad Max-like car scenario where you have a team of 3 cars under your control and a helicopter, and you're trying to either be the first to the finish line with any of your cars or
be the last one standing.
And it's chaotic.
Yes.
It is a definite Ameritrash type game, and it is absolutely a blast.
It is. It's different than other racing
complicated.
games.
It's different than other racing games. It is very player interactive. It is very... Things are going to smash. They're going to spin out. They're going to do unexpected stuff.
You can't predict. Yes, it's very unexpected. You can't plan this out too much.
But you take kind of the situation and make, when you're making your decision to activate a vehicle, you just kind of do the best you can reading the game situation at that time and see what happens. And in our play of it, I made a mistake at the end. We were both down to 1 car, and Suzanne won. So
I had been at 1 car for a while too.
Yeah.
So
where did you get dice from? I forgot to bring Polyhedral Dice, and I was supposed to play in an RPG event that I ended up not making because I just ran out of juice.
Yeah.
I
managed to get dice at Eclipse Dice, and they partly because they were towards the back of the hall, almost near the artist row area, so I could actually get up to them. And I could safely stop and look at dice. So I got a couple sets of dice there because you can't leave Gen Con without some dice, even if you don't play RPGs and just like to run them down the dice tower. So that was fun to do that. Also, when I was in my search for dice, I saw in the footsteps of Darwin and stopped by because that was one that I wanted to kind of check out and look at and possibly grab. So I stopped there, and the really nice couple that I ran into there that I think they are subscribers here, we talked about Footsteps Darwin and Turing Machine. And Turing Machine was on my list for last year, and I couldn't get a copy, and so I grabbed that also.
So that's another game we actually got to the table since Gen Con.
Yep, I had gotten it thinking I was going to be playing it solo the whole time.
So we played it 2-player. We actually played it back-to-back 2-player plays. I'm going to describe Turing Machine as less of a game and more of like just a puzzle to solve.
It's a logic puzzle is what it is, which I love.
Generally speaking, I really enjoy logic puzzle type games and game mechanics, but I'm absolutely terrible at them and get frustrated about halfway through. And both plays so far, you won technically, I think, both of them through technicalities, but I was able to. I felt like I was solving the same round.
Yeah, we solved the same round. Yep.
Which meant I felt like I was like I was not like not competitive, which made like I'm really liking Turing Machine. I want to get it to the table again for some more play. Maybe I'll play it yet today. I don't know. We'll see. Off of my list of games that I absolutely was super excited for at Gen Con is Age of Innovation, which is the latest new release from Feuerland and Capstone Games for the Terra Mystica series of games. So this is a new standalone game in the that uses the Terra Mystica core mechanics. So you have Terra Mystica now, Gaia Project, which is the sci-fi one, and now Age of Innovation, which is kind of the steampunk version of Terra Mystica.
There's also the simplified Terra Mystica.
Oh, there is the simplified one. Terra Nova.
Yeah.
Which we don't have. And I'm not interested in actually owning it because I don't need this. I don't want a simplified version of it. I want the full game experience. Yeah. Terra Mystica is my favorite game of all time. I'm super stoked to play Age of Innovation. The mechanics look pretty similar. Like they've added some things maybe they've learned from Gaia Project or whatever that's going to make the game feel a little more in the Age of Innovation, the steampunky kind of feel. Like the game components all look absolutely wonderful. It looks like it's the best production quality of these Terra Mystica style games so far. The box is heavy.
Oh yes. It's heavy. I carried it all over.
I am so excited to get this game to the table, and unfortunately, it's probably going to end up waiting till near the end of the month for me to actually get it to the table with we might get it to the table as a 2-player, but typically Terra Mystica type games play better when you have 3 or 4 or 5 players playing them. So
I will say I think I disappointed the guy selling the games for Terra Mystica at Capstone Games because he kept asking if I wanted to demo it before I just bought it, and I said nope. My husband said just to buy it. Don't worry about it. Just buy it. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
They really wanted, I think, demo it to someone, and
I know I didn't hear as much about this one. Maybe it's because there's so much other Terra Mystica products out there already, and this is just kind of a rehash of that same kind of core mechanic. But this is, for those of you that are fans of Terra Mystica, I think this is a game that you really should check out, and I am super excited to get to the table and play it, and I can't say enough about it. So that's that's Age of Innovation, which is a Terra Mystica game. It says it right on the box as I'm staring at it right over here. So another game, and this is a game that he didn't know anything about, and this is a Sunday purchase. So I try at Gen Con to find 1 or 2 really small publishers that are maybe there for their first Gen Con and actually have product to sell to, or maybe it's a lesser known game, to pick it up and support those publishers. Especially if the game looks like it's. I don't pick up a game that doesn't look interesting or appealing. I always pick something that looks like it's going to be fun to play. So one of those games, we actually got 2 this year. One of those games is Hero, a Tale of the Tomes game. And I got
that one looks pretty cool.
And I got the Lost Heroics expansion with it. And just sell me everything, guys. I think this guy. Honestly, I don't remember. He's the publisher, designer, artist. He does everything.
He did everything with it.
Yep,
and it's everything. A card game.
It's a card game. I honestly don't remember exactly the mechanics.
You're playing as a hero.
We introduced ourselves as a YouTube channel as well, and a podcast. And I think he was about at that point ready to hand us a copy of the game. And I said, no, don't worry about it. We'll buy the game. Take our money. We will support you. Here's our card. Please, hit us up on email for an interview. So hopefully we'll get an interview with him as well in the future for the audio show. but I'm very excited to play the game and actually give it a try and get to the table, and hopefully we'll be able to feature it on an upcoming how to play and playthrough video in the Mastering the Dice series.
Yeah.
So look for that one coming out at some point in the future. Don't know exactly when, but I'm excited to get that to the table.
And I'm just going to note, and Conesy does not know this yet, but I think this game might be one that's going to be a decorative element also in our game room because it looks like a book.
Yes, the
and
box
it's like
is
this
awesome.
Nice little size 8-inch tall book, and I don't know, it's cute.
So why don't you quack on about the next game?
Oh, this quack on, haha. So this was a semi-impulse purchase. I was getting jostled as I was making my way through the vendor hall one day and ended up face to face with a table and a lady demoing Deducto. And Deducto is a game for 2 to 4 players. I think it says it's ages 8 and up on the box. It's a little bit like Guess Who, and you have a character that you are, but you don't know who it is, and you are playing other cards, and others are telling you if any of the features on these other cards are matching up. So this game I purchased not necessarily for us to play, but my nieces love games, and I love playing games with them. And so I thought this would be a great fun to play with some kids that are in elementary school. That would be fun and good chance and nice thing to do.
Seems
so,
to be
Deducto.
Yep. A quacking deduction game from GameRight. It is worth noting that I think this is becoming a reoccurring theme that you're actually getting a game at Gen Con for your nieces every year now.
Yes. This one they're getting before Christmas, though.
That is true.
So, but it's fun. I don't know. I like playing games with them.
Another game that we got from a publisher that we haven't heard a lot about from before is, and the publisher is Dead Alive Games. I've heard of them before. I don't think we own a product of theirs in the collection currently until now, which is Lunar Rush, which looks like it's you're basically playing as corporations or whatever, trying to maximize your trips from Earth to the moon to extract resources from the moon and bring them back to Earth, and controlling markets. So it's like an economic / space kind of space game. It looked really fun. Like all the mechanics that were going on in this game. Like, hey, you might not get as much stuff, but you might want to hurry up and get to the moon and back to gather this resource before your opponent, who you can see has a load of resources that if they sell at that high price, they're going to have buku bucks and points. So it is like really cool kind of economic engine, along with having to try to manage your trips back and forth to the moon. Do you load up your ship with lots of resources while you're there? Do you not? And then you're establishing like your little moon base as well. Like you're investing in that. It looked really cool. I'm really excited to play this one. I hope you are too, because it's right in that kind of space sci-fi itch.
Yep, I will play it. It's a space theme.
So
yeah. So another thing we did is that we pre-ordered the new Lost Ruins of Arnak expansion from CGE, and this is the Missing Expedition. It's not a legendary. What's a legacy?
It's not even legacy. It's just a campaign. It's a cooperative campaign game.
Cooperative campaign for 2 players. So
it also introduces a bunch of components, new cards for the base Lost Ruins, 2 new asymmetric leaders for the core game. So you don't have to there's plenty of content here in the box for a small box edition and expansion to Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Price-wise,
if you're not interested in the 2-player cooperative campaign. So there's plenty of stuff in the box for everyone.
We haven't opened the box yet, though, so
it is on
open soon. I think
potentially on the table this Thursday. So
and then the last thing I think that we got is a playmat.
Yeah. So while we were at the Thunderworks Games booth,
I noticed.
You noticed that he had playmats for Goblin Vaults. Which I think will make playing that game even easier, because now it basically organizes the coordinated play area for all players. So
It's just for me, just visually to see everything lined up and have its own spot, and then also remember, okay, these are the different steps that we need to do at the end of the round or whatever.
I think it's gonna make that game look clean on the table. It's really gonna enhance that game. I really do enjoy playing Goblin Vaults. It's gotten to be a nice game that while we were provided a review copy for Goblin Vaults. Actually, I don't even know if it was a review copy. We just played the game with Keith and did an interview with him, and he gave us a copy. I don't think he was actually expecting anything more of it, but I've done a learn to play for it. You can find you want to find out more about Goblin Vaults, you can just click the thing up there. And I think that's going to be a really nice addition to that game and being able to enhance our play.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what we came home with from Gen Con, besides lots of memories and fun times. And I love just talking and meeting with everyone that I ran into there.
This was the most exhausting Gen Con I've ever been to.
You slept most of the way back.
It was such a blur of 5 days of just nonstop go, go, go. And yeah, I definitely paid for it. I still feel like I'm a little tired and it was just a week ago. A week ago Sunday. We're recording this Sunday, so full 7 days from when we drove back, the last day we were there, right? And I still feel, I think there's a little bit of that exhaustion from the con. It was the most intense 4 days of Gen Con I've ever had, or 5 days of Gen Con I've ever had. It really, really did blow by fast.
Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely. I met so many people, and I'm sorry, Suzanne's far better at remembering names. And
I've only read
whatever.
Small percentage I remembered here.
I am not the greatest at remembering people's names, but I enjoyed everybody that played at all of my ticketed events, the people that played with me in the open gaming area, the people that played whether it was the Batman or whatever, getting to play what was it?
Dwellings of
Eldervale. So what was all of it was great. What was your favorite thing that you got to do at Gen Con this year?
Oh gosh. Like I said, I think it really was just talking to people and meeting other gamers. Just unscheduled, hey, we happened to run into and we were talking. I think that really was my favorite. I enjoyed a lot of things. I did a variety, but I think that was my favorite. And if I forgot your name and we talked, please do not be offended. But I would love if you would comment in the comments for this show that we ran into each other. Because I'd love to hear what's been going on since you left Gen Con and what you've been playing or picked up there. So
yeah, absolutely. And for me, Gen Con this year, it was, like I said, it was a blur, and it was full of amazing moments. I will say there were a couple of things that really stood out for me. Obviously, there was that moment of, hey, I'm done running organized events. I get to enjoy now is my Gen Con start. That point on Friday when that realization kind of okay, I am done. All I have to do is clean up, turn in my tickets from when I ran, and enjoy my con. I'm no longer pressed to have to be in this spot. That was the most probably my favorite moment of the con was right about that point. That point on Friday where okay, I'm done. Now I can go into kind of relax, let other people teach me, show me stuff. I can just enjoy the con at my pace. That was great. I did not realize, I think when I was booking things, and it is one of those things and I know I've run events at other cons, so it's not like I didn't fully understand what I was getting myself into.
But you do like to overbook yourself.
I do overbook myself when I'm running events. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
But it's so much easier. It is easier for the con to stake out a table for you. To hey, if I'm running back to back to back, you just get the same table. You're there the whole day. You know where you're at. It makes things easier. I just don't. I need to manage it with a little more help better.
Yeah.
Anyways. That was probably my favorite moment at Gen Con, was just that moment. It was really good though. Like, and you had your first like, hey, you're a content creator. Somebody recognized you from content that you
Yeah.
created moment, which was really cool to hear about. My like when the sitting there Wednesday out in the um, out at the picnic tables um, by the the food, and we had our beers and whatever, and lo and behold, the sophisticated service crew just walked up
Mhm.
out of nowhere
Yeah.
and introduced themselves. Like that was definitely a moment. Like that,
Good.
like that was really exciting. Like, hey, you guys came and sought us out versus us finding you. That was awesome. Like that absolutely was unexpected, and that like for me really kicked off what this Gen Con meant to me, which was the first time really like I know I've went to Gen Con before and done WiscoDice at Gen Con. This was the first Gen Con for me where I thought we were really going to Gen Con as WiscoDice
Hmm.
to represent WiscoDice and do WiscoDice at all the stuff we did.
Yep. It was great. It was a great convention, and now we get to start planning for 2024.
Yep. Yeah, planning. Well, that's it. We're already planning for 2024.
We were planning for 2024 on the way back, on the drive back when you were away.
But let's not forget, as much as we're getting into this planning moving forward, that there are still multiple conventions that WiscoDice is going to be at.
Yep.
So I've got 3 other conventions before the end of the year that we're going to be at, and they're all Wisconsin-based cons. But if you're there or you're planning on being there,
Please let us know.
Please let us know.
We'd love to
drop a note in the
hi.
comment. We're still going to have badge ribbons. We're still going to have coasters to give away. I'm running games. I'd love to play a game with you, or you to play a game with it with you at these cons. So first up, we're going to be at Strong Tower Gamers Convention. That's going to be in Brookfield, Wisconsin, September 15th through the 17th. I don't know if badges are still available to purchase, but I see the events list is growing every day. So make sure you check out that convention. It's going to be a nice, casual, smaller gamers event where it's gamers playing games. Dragonfall, which is more of a miniatures focused convention, but I'll be there Saturday. I think the 2 of us will probably be there Saturday evening in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, running basically the WiscoDice tabletop gaming podcast in YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. Library of games. We'll have probably a couple of tables staked out, or maybe 3 or 4, where we have a number of games from our collection that we'll have on hand that we'll be happy to teach and or play with you.
And
then finally, the big one, Gamehole Con here in Madison, Wisconsin. That'll be from October 19th and 22nd. That is an absolutely amazing time. I've been to every Gamehole Con since the very first one. So I think this is year 11. And Alex and crew over the Gamehole Con folks, like, it may be more of an RPG focused convention, but don't worry, there are a literal ton of board games.
And there's
True Dungeon, which is less expensive at Gamehole Con than it is at Gen Con. And there is a very nice exhibit vendor hall. That has plenty of retailers, including some local retailers, but also a nice little artist row. Gamehole Con for me is turning into a mini Gen Con, right?
Yeah.
From an RPG, from an Adventures League, from a D&D perspective, it's probably got as much, or it's pretty close to having as much presence as Gen Con does. But then when it comes to like the board games and the other stuff, it has definitely been growing. It continues to grow. And this year sounds like it's going to be the biggest year yet for Gamehole Con.
And it's got good food trucks at it, too.
And the food trucks.
Yep.
There's
just no beer garden.
They don't have a beer garden. They don't have like the special brewery right now, but the beer vendors are in the Alliant, and it's got there's plenty of room yet for it to grow without
parking.
Free parking.
Plenty of parking space.
And so if you haven't been to Gamehole Con and you're looking for a convention that's much slower paced, but still very focused on playing games, plenty of ticketed events, but also plenty of space to play open, in open gaming and just sit down, stake out a spot, and
Oh
play
yeah, I
games.
did. That's all I did one year.
Yep, it is absolutely the con for you. So
Yeah.
we can't say enough about any of these cons, but GameOCon will be the big one for WiscoDice coming up, and then hopefully we'll be able to start rolling into 2024 and all the exciting conventions that we're going to be at. Then you'll hear more about that coming up on the podcast and our YouTube channel as we get closer to figuring out exactly where and when we will be at all these places.
Yep. And let us know that you made it all the way through this video about our Gen Con 2023 experience by liking the video or just leaving a comment there.
Hey there, it's Conesy. Thank you so much for watching. We put out videos weekly here at WiscoDice. Check out our channel for more great videos and don't forget to subscribe. We also have more great content on our website at WiscoDice.com. Of course, we do this all for you, the viewers. So please like the video if you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.